The champagne glass felt cold against Brianna's palm as she stood in the corner of the country club ballroom, watching Nathan charm another group of his law school colleagues. The crystal chandeliers overhead cast perfect light across the marble floors, and everywhere she looked, people in expensive suits congratulated each other on their futures in corporate law. She'd spent 3 hours getting ready for this graduation party. Her emerald green dress had cost more than she wanted to admit, but Nathan had insisted she needed to look the part for his big night. Her natural curls were twisted into an elegant updo, and she'd even worn the uncomfortable heels he'd picked out last week. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention." Nathan's voice boomed through the microphone at the front of the room. Brianna straightened, smiling as all eyes turned toward her boyfriend of 2 years. This was his moment. He'd worked hard for this law degree and she was proud of him. Nathan looked perfect in his navy suit, his brown skin glowing under the lights, his smile confident and broad. "I want to thank everyone for coming tonight to celebrate this milestone with me. My parents, my sister Lauren, my professors, my future colleagues at Henderson and Associates." Brianna took a step forward, expecting him to mention her next. "They talked about this speech last night. He'd promised to keep it short and sweet. I also need to address something that's been on my mind lately." Nathan's eyes found hers across the room, and something in his expression made her stomach tighten. "Relationships are complicated, aren't they? Especially when two people come from different worlds." A few people chuckled. Brianna's smile faltered. "My girlfriend Brianna is here tonight and I love her, I really do. But I've been thinking a lot about compatibility. About what it means to build a life with someone." He paused, taking a sip of his champagne. "The truth is we're not exactly in the same financial league. She's a sweet girl, works in tech, does her thing. But as I move into corporate law, as I start building real wealth, I have to be honest about the gap between us." The room went silent. Brianna felt every eye turned toward her. Her face burned with heat that had nothing to do with the temperature. "I'm not saying it's a deal breaker," Nathan continued, his tone almost apologetic as if he were discussing a minor inconvenience. "But it's something we need to navigate carefully. Different earning potentials, different professional circles, different expectations. You all understand. We've talked about this in our legal ethics classes. Matching values, matching ambitions, matching lifestyles." Someone coughed. A woman near the bar whispered something to her companion. Brianna's hands trembled, champagne sloshing in her glass. "Anyway, I don't want to bring down the mood." Nathan laughed, and a few uncertain chuckles echoed through the room. "Just being real, you know? Authenticity matters. Now let's celebrate. To new beginnings." "To new beginnings," a few voices repeated weakly. Brianna stood frozen for exactly 5 seconds. Then she set her champagne glass on the nearest table with a sharp click that seemed to echo through the sudden quiet. She picked up her clutch purse, turned on her heel and walked toward the exit. "Bree, come on, where are you going?" Nathan's voice followed her, tinged with confusion and a hint of irritation. She didn't turn around. Her heels clicked against the marble with steady precision. One foot in front of the other. The doorman opened the heavy wooden door without a word, his face carefully neutral. The cool evening air hit her face as she stepped outside. The valet looked up from his podium. "Can I help you, miss?" "Blue Honda Accord. Tag number JKL4892. Her voice came out steady, clear. She was proud of that. "Right away, miss." Behind her, the door opened again. "Brianna, seriously? You're making a scene." Nathan's voice carried an edge of annoyance now. "I was being honest. That's what you always say you want, right? Honesty?" She turned to face him, and he actually took a step back at whatever he saw in her expression. "You were honest," she said quietly. "Thank you for that. So why are you leaving? Can't you take a joke? Everyone knows I was just trying to be funny about the money thing." "A joke?" She repeated the words slowly. "You stood in front of your family, your colleagues, your future bosses, and joked about how I'm not good enough for your tax bracket." "That's not what I said." Nathan ran a hand over his close-cut hair, a gesture she'd seen 1,000 times when he was frustrated. "You're being dramatic. I said we're from different financial situations. That's just a fact. Here's your vehicle, miss." The valet pulled up in her car, hopping out quickly. Brianna tipped him $20 and slid into the driver's seat. Nathan moved toward the passenger door. "Don't," she said through the open window. "Don't get in this car. Bree, come on. Let's talk about this like adults. Adults don't humiliate their partners in public." She put the car in drive. "Adults don't announce to a room full of strangers that their girlfriend isn't in their league." "I never said you weren't in my league." You're twisting my words. She looked at him one long moment. 2 years. She'd spent 2 years with this man. 2 years supporting his late-night study sessions, his stress during finals, his anxiety about passing the bar exam. 2 years listening to him talk about his dreams, his goals, his future at prestigious law firms. 2 years of him never once asking about her company's quarterly earnings or the software contract she'd been negotiating with a major tech corporation. Goodbye, Nathan. She drove away, watching him shrink in her rearview mirror. He stood there in his expensive navy suit, hand raised halfway like he couldn't decide whether to wave or make her stop. Around him, a few party guests had wandered outside, drinks in hand, watching the drama unfold. Her hand stayed steady on the wheel all the way home. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't call anyone. She just drove through the city streets, past the downtown lights, past the neighborhoods she'd driven through hundreds of times while dating Nathan. When she finally pulled into her apartment complex parking lot, her phone was buzzing with texts. She silenced it without looking. Inside her apartment, she kicked off the uncomfortable heels Nathan had chosen. She unzipped the expensive green dress he'd insisted she wear. She unpinned her hair and let her curls fall free around her shoulders. Then she sat on her couch in her pajamas and stared at the wall. Not in his financial league. The words replayed in her mind. The way he'd said it so casually, so confidently. Like it was common knowledge. Like everyone in that room should have nodded along in understanding. Her phone buzzed again. And again. And again. Brianna picked it up and blocked Nathan's number. Then she blocked him on every social media platform. Then she poured herself a glass of wine and opened her laptop. Her company's financial statements glowed on the screen. Revenue projections for the next quarter. The new client contract that would close next week. The expansion plans she'd been working on for 6 months. Not in his financial league. She almost laughed. Almost. Instead, she took a long sip of wine and began typing an email to her lawyer. She had some questions about business protections and personal liability. Just in case Nathan ever tried to claim he'd contributed to her success in any way. Because if he thought they were in different financial leagues, he was right. She was just done pretending he was in the major leagues when he'd barely made it out of Little League. Brianna woke up to 73 text messages. She knew because her phone had died during the night, and when she plugged it in that morning, the notifications kept coming one after another like a digital assault. She deleted them without reading. Every single one. Then she made coffee, scrambled some eggs, and sat at her kitchen table in the Sunday morning silence. Her apartment felt different somehow. Lighter. Like someone had opened windows she hadn't realized were closed. Her phone rang. Nathan. Declined. It rang again immediately. Declined. The third time she turned it off completely. 2 hours later, someone knocked on her door. Brianna looked through the peephole and smiled for the first time in 12 hours. Zoe stood in the hallway holding a bag from their favorite breakfast spot and 2 large coffee cups. Her best friend since college wore sweatpants and a Howard University hoodie, her locks pulled back in a ponytail. I brought food and I'm not leaving until you tell me everything, Zoe announced as soon as Brianna opened the door. I saw the text in the group chat. I saw Nathan's sister post something cryptic on social media. I put 2 and 2 together. He humiliated me at his graduation party. Brianna took one of the coffee cups and led Zoe into the living room. In front of everyone. Said we're not in the same financial league. He did what? Zoe set the food bag down carefully, like she was restraining herself from throwing it. Nathan? You're Nathan? The one who borrowed money from you last year for his bar prep course. That Nathan. The one whose car you co-signed for because his credit was trash? That one. Zoe sat down slowly on the couch. I'm going to need you to tell me everything. Word for word. Because I'm trying really hard not to drive to his place right now. Brianna recounted the previous night. The speech. The casual cruelty. The way Nathan had looked genuinely confused when she'd walked out. Zoe listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with each detail. So let me get this straight, Zoe said when Brianna finished. This man who makes exactly $0 right now because he hasn't even passed the bar exam yet, announced to a room full of people that you, the owner of a successful software company, are not in his financial league? That's correct. Your company that just landed that contract with the hospital network? Yes. The contract worth $3 million? Yes. Zoe pressed her palms to her temples. I need a minute. I need several minutes. I need to process the level of delusion we're dealing with here. Brianna's phone, which she turned back on, started buzzing on the coffee table. Nathan's name flashed across the screen. She declined the call. He's called 50 times, Brianna said. Maybe more. I stopped counting. What's he saying in the texts? I don't know. I deleted them all without reading. Good. That's good. Zoe nodded approvingly. Don't give him the satisfaction. Let him spiral. The phone rang again. This time it was a number Brianna didn't recognize. She hesitated, then answered. Hello? Brianna? It's Lauren. Nathan's sister. Brianna put the phone on speaker so Zoe could hear. Hi, Lauren. I'm so sorry. Lauren's voice cracked. I'm so sorry. What my brother did last night was inexcusable. I told him this morning that he's an idiot and I'm ashamed to be related to him. Thank you for calling. He's freaking out. He's been calling everyone trying to explain himself. He keeps saying you overreacted, that it was just a joke, that you're being too sensitive. Lauren paused. But I was there. I saw your face. That wasn't a joke. That was cruel. Brianna felt something loosen in her chest. Validation from an unexpected source. I want you to know, Lauren continued, that our mother is furious with him. She told him he embarrassed the whole family. And his colleague, you know Robert from his study group? Robert pulled me aside at the end of the night and asked if Nathan was always this clueless about money. What did you tell him? I told him my brother just made the biggest mistake of his life. Lauren sighed. I should go. I just wanted you to know that not everyone thinks Nathan was right. Some of us have common sense. After Lauren hung up, Zoe reached into the breakfast bag and pulled out a croissant. Okay, I like his sister. She can stay. Nathan's going to keep calling, Brianna said. So block every number. Get a new number if you have to. Go full witness protection. Zoe bit into her croissant. What are you going to do about work tomorrow? Don't you have that presentation? The board meeting. Right. Brianna had almost forgotten. Tomorrow she was presenting the final details of the hospital network contract to her company's board of directors. It was the biggest deal her company had ever landed. You think Nathan knows about that contract? Zoe asked. I told him about it. A few months ago when I first started negotiating. He said something like, "That's nice, babe," and went back to studying for his exam. Zoe made a disgusted sound. Of course he did. He never paid attention to your work, did he? Brianna thought back over the past 2 years. Every time she tried to talk about her company, Nathan had found a way to redirect the conversation to his studies, his stress, his future career. She told herself he was just focused on finishing school. That once he graduated, things would balance out. No, she said quietly. He really didn't. You know what's funny? Zoe pulled up something on her phone. I'm looking at Nathan's social media right now. Last week he posted about needing to network with successful, ambitious people in his field. He shared an article about choosing partners who match your drive. Let me see that. Brianna took the phone. There it was, Nathan's post from 5 days ago, complete with hashtags about success and ambition and surrounding yourself with the right people. He was already setting this up, Zoe said. He was already planning to position himself as too good for you. Probably practicing for his new corporate law friends. Brianna's phone buzzed with a text from a number she didn't have saved. She opened it before she could stop herself. Bri, it's Nathan. I'm using Robert's phone because you blocked me. We need to talk. You completely misunderstood what I said last night. I was trying to be funny, trying to break the ice with some self-deprecating humor about us navigating different career paths. Everyone laughed. You're the only one who took it the wrong way. Call me. She showed the text to Zoe, who read it and shook her head. Self-deprecating humor? About your career being less than his? That's not self-deprecating. That's just regular deprecating. Of you. He really thinks I misunderstood. No, he thinks if he says you misunderstood enough times you'll start to believe it. It's gaslighting 101. Zoe handed the phone back. Don't respond. Don't give him an explanation. Don't give him closure. Just let him sit with what he did. They spent the rest of the day eating breakfast food and watching movies. Zoe stayed until evening, making sure Brianna ate dinner and didn't spend the whole day obsessing over her phone. After Zoe left, Brianna sat at her desk and opened her laptop. She had work to do for tomorrow's presentation. Charts to finalize, numbers to double-check, talking points to review. But first, she pulled up her company's financial records. Not the sanitized versions she showed to investors, but the real numbers. Revenue, expenses, profit margins, growth projections. Her company, Tech Focus Solutions, had been profitable for 3 years. Last year's revenue had exceeded $2 million. This year with the hospital contract they'd hit $5 million easily. She thought about Nathan's student loans, his credit card debt, his car payment that she'd helped him qualify for, his rent that he'd been late on twice in the past year. Not in her financial league. She laughed out loud, alone in her apartment. Then she closed the financial records and opened her presentation for tomorrow. She had a contract to celebrate and a future to build. Nathan could figure out his own league. Monday morning arrived with headlines Brianna hadn't expected. Tech-focused solutions secures major healthcare contract, read the banner on the business section of the city's largest newspaper. Below it, a photo of Brianna from last month's tech conference, smiling confidently in a royal blue blazer. Her phone started ringing at 7 in the morning. Her business partner, Jerome, called first. "Have you seen the coverage?" he asked, excitement clear in his voice. "We're front-page business news. Every tech blog in the region is picking up the story." "I'm looking at it now." Brianna scrolled through her laptop screen, coffee in hand. The hospital network contract had officially been announced, and apparently, it was bigger news than she'd anticipated. "The board meeting went perfectly," Jerome continued. "They're already talking about expansion. Brianna, this is huge. This puts us on the map." After hanging up with Jerome, Brianna got ready for work with unusual care. She chose a red dress with a professional cut, paired it with heels she could actually walk in, and styled her curls into a high bun. She looked polished, powerful, and successful. Everything Nathan had implied she wasn't. Her phone buzzed. A text from a number saved as Nathan's mom. "Brianna, I saw the news this morning. I had no idea your company was so successful. Nathan never mentioned the extent of your work. I'm calling him right now. What he said at the party was unacceptable. I'm so sorry." Brianna stared at the message. Nathan had never told his mother about her company? In 2 years of dating, through countless family dinners and holiday gatherings, he'd never mentioned that she owned a business? 3 more texts came through while she was processing the first one. From Nathan's colleague Robert, "Congratulations on the contract. Nathan just told us you work in tech. He didn't mention you own the company. Pretty impressive." From Lauren, "I'm seeing the news. Oh my God. That's your company? Brianna, I'm so sorry. None of us knew." From a college friend she hadn't spoken to in months, "Girl, I just saw you in the business news. Get it? Always knew you'd do big things." By the time Brianna arrived at her office, a sleek space in the downtown tech district, her inbox had 200 new emails. Press requests, congratulations from colleagues, interview opportunities, networking invitations. Her assistant, Monica, greeted her with a huge smile. "Boss, you're famous. We've had 3 journalists call this morning wanting interviews. Schedule them for next week," Brianna said. "Let's get through today first." The office buzzed with energy. Her 12 employees seemed to walk a little taller, their excitement about the company's new status palpable. This contract meant job security, growth opportunities, and validation for all their hard work. Around lunch, Jerome stopped by her office. "You okay? You seem distracted." "Just processing everything." "Is this about Nathan?" Jerome had been her business partner since they'd started the company 4 years ago. He knew about the breakup. Zoe had filled him in yesterday. "Partly. I'm just realizing how much he downplayed my success. To his family, his friends, everyone. They all thought I was some low-level tech worker." Jerome leaned against the doorframe. "That says more about him than you. Some people can't handle their partner being more successful. Sounds like Nathan was one of them." At 2 in the afternoon, Nathan called from yet another number. This time Brianna answered. "Stop calling me from different phones." "Bree, thank God. Listen, I saw the news. I didn't realize the hospital contract was that big. You should have told me it was such a major deal." She almost laughed. "I did tell you. Multiple times. You said, 'That's nice,' and changed the subject." "Well, I was stressed about exams. You know how it was." He paused. "Look, about Saturday night. I think we both said things we didn't mean. Maybe we overreacted. Why don't we have dinner and talk this through?" "You think I overreacted?" "I think we both need to communicate better. This could be good for us, actually. Now that you've got this big contract and I'm starting at the firm, we're both on solid ground. We can move forward as equals." Brianna closed her eyes. "Nathan, we're not getting back together." "Don't say that. You're upset, I get it. But couples fight. Couples work through things. You publicly humiliated me. I made a bad joke. That's all it was. Everyone at the party understood that. Your own mother called to apologize for you." Silence on the other end. Then, My mother doesn't understand the context. She doesn't get our relationship dynamic. Our relationship dynamic where you pretend I work a regular job and hide the fact that I own a company? I never hid anything. His voice rose defensively. I just didn't go around bragging about your job. That would be weird. Mentioning that your girlfriend owns a successful business isn't bragging, Nathan. It's basic conversation. Okay, fine. I should have talked about your company more. I'm sorry. Can we please move past this? No. Brianna, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm choosing not to date someone who thinks I'm beneath him. I never said that. You said I'm not in your financial league. In front of 50 people. I was nervous. I say stupid things when I'm nervous. You know this about me. Brianna heard the desperation creeping into his voice. Part of her felt bad for him. The smaller part that had loved him for 2 years wanted to soothe his anxiety, to make this easier for him. But the larger part, the part that had built a company from nothing, that had worked 18-hour days to secure major contracts, that had earned every bit of her success, refused to make this comfortable for him. Goodbye, Nathan. She hung up and immediately blocked the new number. Monica knocked on her office door. There's someone here to see you. She says she's from the Professional Women's Network. A woman in her 40s entered, wearing a maroon suit and carrying a leather portfolio. Brianna Foster? I'm Simone Richardson. I read about your company's success this morning, and I wanted to extend an invitation to our next networking event. They talked for 20 minutes. Simone's organization connected successful women in business, providing mentorship, resources, and community. By the end of the conversation, Brianna had committed to attending their monthly meeting. After Simone left, Brianna returned to work. Emails, phone calls, project updates. The normal rhythm of running a business. But everything felt different now. Lighter. Like she'd been carrying weight she hadn't noticed until it was gone. Her phone buzzed one more time. Lauren again. Nathan's telling people you two are still together. Just FYI. He's saying you had a small argument but you're working through it. Thought you should know. Brianna stared at the message. Of course he was. Of course Nathan couldn't accept that she'd actually left him. That she'd chosen her dignity over his comfort. She typed a response. Thanks for the heads up. I'll handle it. Then she called her lawyer. 3 weeks passed like a cleansing rain. Brianna threw herself into work with renewed focus. The hospital contract implementation required constant attention, and she welcomed the distraction. Every morning she arrived at the office before 8, and most evenings she didn't leave until 7. But unlike the exhaustion she'd felt while dating Nathan, this tiredness felt productive. She was building something real, something that belonged entirely to her. The Professional Women's Network meeting happened on a Thursday evening at an upscale restaurant downtown. Brianna wore a green blazer and arrived exactly on time, nervous energy making her palms sweat. Simone greeted her at the door with a warm smile. You made it. Come meet everyone. The room held about 30 women, ranging in age from late 20s to early 60s. Business owners, executives, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. They mingled over wine and appetizers, their conversations filled with shop talk and genuine laughter. This is Brianna Foster, Simone announced to a small group near the bar. She just landed a major healthcare contract for her tech company. Tech Focus Solutions, a woman in a blue dress said. I read about that. Impressive work. They talked business for an hour. Real conversations about challenges, strategies, growth plans. Nobody asked about Brianna's relationship status or whether she was married. Nobody implied that her success was surprising or needed qualification. It was refreshing in a way she hadn't realized she needed. After the formal networking ended, Simone invited Brianna to join a smaller group for dinner. 6 women sat around a corner table, sharing stories and advice over pasta and salad. How long have you been running your company? Asked Teresa, a financial consultant with silver-streaked hair. 4 years. Started it right out of grad school with my business partner. That takes courage, another woman said. Most people go the safe corporate route. I thought about it, Brianna admitted. But I had ideas I wanted to implement. Working for someone else felt limiting. Simone raised her glass. To women who build their own tables instead of waiting for a seat at someone else's. They all clinked glasses and Brianna felt something inside her settle. This was her tribe. These women who understood ambition and hard work without apology. The next morning she arrived at her office to find 24 roses on her desk. No card. She knew immediately who'd sent them. Monica, can you remove these? Brianna asked her assistant. You don't want them? They're from my ex. I don't want them in my office. Monica scooped up the vase without another word. 20 minutes later, Brianna saw them in the break room with a note that said, "Free flowers, help yourself." At noon, Nathan himself appeared in her office lobby. "I'm sorry, sir, but you can't be here without an appointment," Monica said, standing between Nathan and the hallway to Brianna's office. "I'm here to see Brianna. I'm her boyfriend." "Ex-boyfriend," Monica corrected. "And she's not available." Brianna heard the commotion and came out of her office. Nathan stood in the lobby wearing a suit, holding another bouquet of flowers, looking simultaneously desperate and annoyed. "Nathan, you need to leave. We need to talk. You've been ignoring my messages." "I blocked you." "That's not ignoring. That's a clear statement. Can we please talk privately? Just 5 minutes." He glanced around at the employees who'd stopped working to watch the scene. "No. I have nothing to say to you. Brianna, I love you. I made a mistake. Can't you forgive me?" "I don't know, Nathan. Can you accept that I own a successful company?" He flinched. "That's not fair." "What's not fair is you showing up at my workplace after I've made it clear we're done. What's not fair is you telling people we're still together when I broke up with you. What's not fair is you spending 2 years pretending my career didn't matter. I never pretended that. You told everyone at your graduation party that I'm not in your financial league. You hid my success from your family. You called my business cute whenever I talked about it. So yes, Nathan, you absolutely pretended my career didn't matter." His jaw tightened. "So that's it? 2 years together and you're just done?" "I'm done being with someone who diminishes me." "Yes. This is about ego. You can't handle that I'm going to be making good money now." Brianna almost laughed at the absurdity. "My company made $2 million in revenue last year. This year we'll hit $5 million. Your starting salary at your law firm is what, $80,000? The number hung in the air between them. Nathan's face flushed. "It's not about the money," he said quietly. "You're right. It's about respect. And you don't respect me." "I do respect you." "Then please respect my decision and leave my office. Don't come back. Don't send flowers. Don't call from different numbers. We're done, Nathan. Accept it." He stood there for a long moment, flowers drooping in his hands. Then he set the bouquet on Monica's desk and walked out without another word. After he left, the office slowly returned to normal. Employees went back to their computers. Monica threw the second bouquet in the trash without asking. Brianna returned to her office and sat at her desk, heart pounding. Standing up to Nathan felt good. Necessary. But also exhausting. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Is this Brianna Foster?" "Yes." "This is Amanda Chin from the State Bar Association. I'm calling regarding Nathan Williams. He listed you as a reference on his character and fitness application for bar admission." Brianna closed her eyes. Of course he had. "I'd like to withdraw as a reference, please." "May I ask why?" "We recently ended our relationship, and I don't feel comfortable providing a reference under these circumstances." "I understand. I'll update his file. Thank you for your time." After hanging up, Brianna pulled up her email and composed a message to her lawyer. "Nathan appeared at my office today. I asked him to leave and not return. I want to document this in case we need to pursue a restraining order. Please advise on next steps." Her lawyer, Patricia, responded within an hour. "Document everything. Save all texts, emails, and record any attempts at contact. If he shows up at your workplace or home again, call me immediately." The rest of the week passed without incident. No flowers. No calls. No surprise visits. Brianna started to relax, to believe that maybe Nathan had finally accepted reality. Friday evening, she met Zoe for dinner at their favorite restaurant. "How are you doing?" Zoe asked once they'd ordered. "Really? Better. Stronger. I joined that women's networking group. It's been good." "And Nathan?" "He showed up at my office earlier this week. I had to tell him to leave." Zoe's expression darkened. "Are you serious? What did he say?" "The usual. That he loves me, that he made a mistake, that we should work it out. Then he got upset when I pointed out the reality of our financial situations. His ego is so fragile." Zoe shook her head. "You know his friends have been posting about him on social media, right? What are they saying?" Zoe pulled out her phone and showed Brianna a post from Robert, Nathan's law school friend. "Big congratulations to my boy Nathan on passing the bar. Although between you and me he needs to work on his people skills. Still can't believe what happened at his graduation party." Brianna read through the comments. Several people agreed that Nathan had messed up big time with his speech. Someone else commented, "Imagine being dumb enough to humiliate your girlfriend who owns $1 million company." People noticed, Zoe said. "You weren't the only one who thought he was out of line. That's validating actually. He kept saying I was overreacting. Classic gaslighting. But reality is catching up with him." Zoe took a sip of her wine. "How's work? Still busy?" "Always. But good busy. We're hiring 2 new developers next month. The hospital contract is performing well. Jerome and I are talking about opening a second office." "Look at you, business mogul." Zoe grinned. Nathan really fumbled this one. They spent the rest of dinner talking about Zoe's job hunt, her latest dating disaster, and their plans for the upcoming weekend. Normal friend conversation. The kind Brianna realized she'd been missing while dating Nathan, who'd always dominated conversations with his own stress and problems. When she got home that night, Brianna found an envelope taped to her apartment door. Inside, a handwritten note on expensive stationery. "Brianna, I understand you're angry. I accept that. But we had something special and I don't believe you really want to throw it away over one bad moment. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to prove I value you. Give me a chance to make this right. Nathan." She read it twice, then took a photo and sent it to Patricia with the message, "Adding this to the documentation." Then she threw the note away and poured herself a glass of wine. Nathan was right about one thing. They had something special. She'd had a successful business and a bright future. And now she had those things without someone trying to diminish them. Lauren called on a Tuesday morning while Brianna was reviewing quarterly projections. "I need to tell you something about Nathan," Lauren said, her voice tight. "You're not going to like it." Brianna set down her pen. "What now?" "He's telling people you two are still together. Not just casually mentioning it but actively lying. Yesterday he brought a woman to meet our parents. Some paralegal named Tricia from his firm. Introduced her as his girlfriend. But then later, I heard him on the phone telling someone that you and he were taking a break, but would be back together soon. He's dating someone new and still claiming we're together? It gets worse." Lauren took a breath. "I did some digging. Asked some questions. Brianna, Tricia isn't new. Nathan's been seeing her since at least March. Maybe longer." The words landed like stones. March. That was 4 months ago. While Nathan had been stressed about exams, while Brianna had been supporting him through his bar prep, while he'd been claiming to love her, he'd been with someone else. "Are you sure?" Brianna asked. One of his law school friends confirmed it. Apparently, it was an open secret in their study group. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know until now." After hanging up, Brianna sat in silence. She wasn't heartbroken. That surprised her. She felt angry, yes, and betrayed. But not devastated. Not like she'd expected to feel upon learning her boyfriend had cheated. Maybe because he wasn't really her boyfriend anymore. Maybe because some part of her had already let go. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Hi Brianna, this is Tricia. I think we should talk. Woman to woman. Nathan said you two were broken up when we started seeing each other, but I'm getting different information from other people. Can we meet for coffee?" Brianna stared at the message. Then she typed a response. "I have no interest in meeting with you. Nathan and I broke up 3 weeks ago after he publicly humiliated me at his graduation party. What he told you about our relationship is between you and him. Don't contact me again." She blocked the number immediately. 2 hours later, Nathan called from yet another phone. "Tricia said you were rude to her. I told her not to contact me." "That's not rude. That's a boundary." She was trying to be mature about this situation. "There is no situation, Nathan. You and I are done. Who you date now is none of my business." "See, that's the thing. I'm not really dating Tricia. Not seriously. It's casual. I don't care. You should care. Because I'm still in love with you, Bri. Tricia was just a distraction while you were always busy with work. But now I realize that was a mistake. I want us to work this out." Brianna felt her temper rise. "You cheated on me." "I didn't cheat. We were having problems." "No, Nathan. You were having problems. With my success, with your insecurity, with your inability to respect me. I was fine. I was supporting you, working hard, building a life. While you were sleeping with someone else. That's not fair. You're making me sound terrible. You are terrible. You stood in front of a room full of people and announced that I wasn't good enough for you. Then I find out you've been cheating for months. What part of that makes you not terrible?" Silence. Then, "My firm is asking questions about you." "Excuse me?" Henderson and Associates. They've seen the news about your company. They're asking why I never mentioned dating a successful entrepreneur. It's making me look bad. Brianna almost laughed. So now you're concerned about my success? Now that it's affecting your reputation? It's not like that. I'm just saying it would help both of us if we presented a united front. If we showed everyone we're still together and supporting each other's careers. You want me to pretend we're together so you look better at your job. I want us to actually be together. But if you need time, I understand. We can just let people think we're still dating for a while. It benefits you too. Having a lawyer boyfriend looks good for business. Nathan. Brianna spoke slowly, clearly. I would rather be single forever than pretend to date you for appearances. We are done. Completely. Finally. Forever. You're going to regret this. Is that a threat? It's reality. You think you're so successful now, but wait until you need legal advice. Wait until your company faces a lawsuit or a contract dispute. You'll wish you had a lawyer in your corner. I have 3 lawyers on retainer. I don't need you. She hung up and immediately called Patricia. Nathan just implied he might cause legal problems for my company if I don't get back together with him. Can we pursue a restraining order now? Patricia sighed. Probably not yet. Implications aren't enough. But document it. Record any future calls if your state allows single-party consent. If he makes any explicit threats, call me immediately. That evening, Brianna attended the monthly Professional Women's Network dinner. She arrived feeling drained, but the energy in the room lifted her spirits. Simone approached with another woman. Brianna, this is Judge Patricia Monroe. She handles business litigation cases. They shook hands and Judge Monroe smiled warmly. I've heard good things about your company. How are you handling the growth? Taking it one day at a time, Brianna admitted. Right now I'm dealing with some personal issues that are bleeding into professional ones. Ex-boyfriend? Judge Monroe asked knowingly. How did you guess? 20 years on the bench. I've seen every variation of man who can't handle his partner's success. She handed Brianna her card. If you need advice, legal or otherwise, call me. We women need to support each other. By the end of the evening, Brianna had 3 new business contacts, 2 mentorship offers, and a standing invitation to a monthly book club focused on women entrepreneurs. She drove home feeling fortified. Nathan could scheme all he wanted. She had an entire network of successful women in her corner. Friday morning, Jerome stopped by her office with coffee and a concerned expression. We got a weird call yesterday. Someone from Henderson and Associates asking about our business structure and whether we have any outstanding legal issues. Nathan's firm? Yeah. The guy said he was doing background research for a potential client, but it felt off. Like he was fishing for problems. Brianna closed her eyes. Nathan's trying to cause trouble. Can he do that? Isn't that some kind of ethics violation? Probably. But proving it would be difficult. She pulled out her phone and texted Patricia. Nathan's firm is calling my company asking about legal issues. Is this harassment? Patricia responded within minutes. Potentially. Could also be legitimate due diligence if they have a client interested in your company. But combined with his other behavior, it establishes a pattern. Start keeping a detailed log of every contact. The rest of the day, Brianna worked on creating a comprehensive timeline. Every text Nathan had sent. Every call. Every appearance at her office or apartment. Every lie he'd told about their relationship status. Every attempt at manipulation. By evening, she had a document 15 pages long. She sent it to Patricia with a note. Complete record of Nathan's behavior since the breakup. Let me know if this is enough for a restraining order. Her phone rang an hour later. Nathan's mother. Brianna, I owe you an apology. Not just for my son's behavior at the party, but for not seeing what was really happening. Lauren told me about Trisha. About the lies Nathan's been telling. I'm appalled. Thank you for calling. I want you to know that his father and I have told him he's not welcome at family events until he gets himself together. We didn't raise him to treat women this way. After the call, Brianna felt something shift. Nathan's own family was turning against him. His firm was asking questions about his judgment. His lies were unraveling. She wasn't fighting this battle alone. Her success had built her a foundation strong enough to withstand Nathan's desperation. And that foundation was only getting stronger. The article appeared on a Thursday morning in the city's premier business magazine. Women Making Waves. Local Entrepreneurs Changing the Tech Landscape. Brianna's company was featured prominently, with a full-page photo of her in the sleek office lobby and a detailed profile of Tech Focus Solutions' growth trajectory. The journalist had done thorough research, interviewing clients, employees, and industry experts. But it was one paragraph near the end that caused Brianna's phone to explode with messages. When asked about her personal life, Foster mentioned recently ending a long-term relationship with a partner who failed to appreciate her accomplishments. "I realized I was making myself smaller to make someone else comfortable," Foster said. "That's not something I'm willing to do anymore." Brianna hadn't named Nathan. She'd been careful about that. But apparently Nathan's colleagues at Henderson and Associates were smart enough to connect the dots. By noon, Lauren had texted, "Nathan is losing his mind. Everyone at his firm has seen the article. They're asking questions." Zoe sent a screenshot of Nathan's social media, where he'd posted a long, defensive rant about how some people twist private moments into public narratives, and how success doesn't give anyone the right to destroy someone's reputation. Jerome knocked on Brianna's office door. "Have you seen Nathan's post?" "Unfortunately, yes. He's making himself look worse. Every comment is people calling him out for that graduation party speech." Jerome shook his head. The internet remembers everything. What Nathan hadn't anticipated was that several guests from his graduation party had seen the article too. One of them, a woman named Denise who worked at Henderson and Associates, had commented on Nathan's post, "Maybe if you hadn't publicly humiliated your girlfriend at your party, she wouldn't have anything negative to say. Just a thought." The comment had over 300 likes. At 2 in the afternoon, Tricia sent a message from a new number. "I just read the article. Nathan told me you two had a mutual breakup because of work schedules. He said you wanted different things. He never mentioned humiliating you publicly. I feel like an idiot. I'm sorry." Brianna read the message twice. She felt bad for Tricia actually. The woman had been lied to as much as anyone. But she still typed back, "I appreciate the apology, but I don't want to be involved in whatever situation you have with Nathan. Please don't contact me again." This time Tricia responded, "I understand. For what it's worth, I broke up with him an hour ago. He's been lying to everyone about everything." Brianna didn't respond. She simply blocked the number and returned to work. That evening, Henderson and Associates released an internal memo. Brianna only knew about it because Lauren forwarded a screenshot. All associates are reminded that personal conduct reflects on the firm's reputation. Recent events involving one of our new associates have raised concerns about professional judgment and ethical behavior. This will be addressed directly with the individual involved. They're putting him on notice, Zoe said when Brianna showed her the memo during their standing Friday dinner. "One more screw up and he's out." "I almost feel bad for him," Brianna admitted. "Almost. Don't. He did this to himself. You didn't write that article to hurt him. You told your truth. If his truth makes him look bad, that's on him." Simone called Saturday morning. "I saw the article. Beautiful piece. How are you handling everything?" "Better than I expected, honestly." "I'm glad. Listen, I wanted to give you a heads up. Judge Monroe mentioned you at yesterday's networking lunch. She's impressed with how you've handled this situation. She might have some opportunities to discuss with you." "What kind of opportunities?" "Business opportunities. Judge Monroe sits on several boards. She's looking for smart, ethical people to recommend. Your name came up." After hanging up, Brianna sat on her balcony with coffee and her laptop. She pulled up the article again, reading it with fresh eyes. The journalist had captured something essential about her journey. Not just the business success but the personal growth. The realization that she deserved respect in all areas of her life, not just professionally. Her phone rang. "Patricia, I have news. Henderson and Associates wants to meet with you." "Why?" "They're concerned about potential liability. If Nathan's been using firm resources to harass you or investigate your company, that's a serious problem for them. They want to understand the full scope of his behavior." "Are they going to fire him?" "That's not my concern or yours. But they're taking this seriously. I recommend we meet with them and provide the documentation you've compiled." The meeting happened Monday afternoon in a conference room at Henderson and Associates' downtown office. 3 senior partners sat across from Brianna and Patricia, their expressions professionally neutral. "Miss Foster, we appreciate you taking the time to meet with us," the lead partner, a woman named Sarah, began. "We want to ensure that no improper conduct has occurred involving our firm or its resources." Patricia slid a folder across the table. "This contains a complete timeline of Nathan Williams' behavior toward my client since their breakup. As you'll see, there's a pattern of harassment, lies about relationship status, and potential misuse of professional connections." The partners reviewed the documents in silence. Sarah's jaw tightened as she read. Did Nathan ever explicitly threaten you using his position at this firm? Another partner asked. He implied that I'd regret not having a lawyer in my corner when my company faces legal issues. Then your firm started making inquiries about my company's legal standing. Those inquiries were initiated by Nathan without authorization, Sarah said flatly. He told our investigative team he was helping a potential client perform due diligence. That was a lie. What happens now? Brianna asked. We handle it internally. And we want to be clear that Henderson and Associates does not condone or support Nathan's actions. If he contacts you again, please let us know immediately. After the meeting, Patricia and Brianna walked to a nearby coffee shop. That went well, Patricia said. They're protecting their firm, which means making sure Nathan doesn't cause more problems. Do you think they'll fire him? Probably not immediately. But he's on very thin ice. One more incident and he's done. Brianna's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Nathan. I know you met with my firm. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to destroy my career because you can't accept that we're over. This is petty and vindictive and I won't stand for it. She showed the text to Patricia, who immediately took a photo. Forward that to me. And don't respond. Let him dig his own grave. That evening, Brianna attended a Tech Focus Solutions team dinner celebrating the successful first month of the hospital contract. Her employees laughed and joked over appetizers, their confidence in the company's future evident in every conversation. Jerome raised his glass. To our fearless leader who built this company from nothing and keeps making it better every day. To Brianna, everyone echoed. She looked around the table at the team she'd assembled. Smart, talented people who believed in her vision. Who respected her leadership. Who showed up every day ready to do excellent work. This was what mattered. Not Nathan's desperation or his attempts to salvage his bruised ego. Not his lies or his manipulation. Her company. Her success. Her integrity. Nathan had tried to diminish her, and in doing so, he'd diminished himself. The truth had a way of surfacing whether anyone wanted it to or not. The charity event at the Grand Hotel Ballroom was one Brianna had committed to months ago. A fundraiser for youth technology education, exactly the kind of cause her company supported. She'd almost canceled after everything with Nathan, but Simone had convinced her to attend. Don't let him take these opportunities from you, Simone had said. You earned your place in these circles. So Brianna wore a bright red gown, styled her hair in elegant curls, and arrived at the event with confidence she'd worked hard to rebuild. The ballroom was filled with business leaders, philanthropists, and tech industry professionals. Brianna networked comfortably, discussing potential partnerships and educational initiatives. She was talking to the head of a local nonprofit when she saw Nathan across the room. He wore a black suit and stood near the bar, drink in hand, looking slightly out of place. Their eyes met for a brief second before Brianna deliberately turned her attention back to her conversation. As I was saying, the nonprofit director continued, we're looking for companies willing to sponsor coding camps for underserved students. Tech Focus would definitely be interested. Have your team send me a proposal. Brianna felt Nathan approaching before she saw him. Some sixth sense that had developed over 2 years of dating. Brianna, can we talk? His voice came from directly behind her. She didn't turn around. No, thank you. Please. Just 5 minutes. The nonprofit director looked uncomfortable. I'll let you two talk. Nice meeting you, Brianna. Wait, Brianna said, but the woman had already moved away. She finally turned to face Nathan. You need to leave me alone. I need to explain. About the meeting with my firm, about everything. You're getting the wrong idea. The idea I'm getting is that you can't accept that we're over. Because we don't have to be over. We can fix this. Nathan reached for her arm. Brianna stepped back. Don't touch me. Bree, come on. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? You followed me to a charity event. I was invited. I have every right to be here. Then be here. Away from me. Brianna looked around and caught the eye of an event organizer. Excuse me, I need security. Security? Are you serious right now? Nathan's voice rose. I'm trying to have a civil conversation and you're calling security? 2 staff members in suits approached quickly. Is there a problem? This man is harassing me. I've asked him repeatedly to leave me alone. He's following me to events. Nathan's face flushed. That's not what's happening. We're having a private discussion. I don't want to discuss anything with you, Brianna said clearly. I want you to stay away from me. "Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave," one of the security staff said. "This is ridiculous. Brianna, tell them this is a misunderstanding." "It's not a misunderstanding. Please leave." The security staff moved closer to Nathan. The people nearby had stopped talking, watching the scene unfold. "Fine." Nathan set his drink down hard on a nearby table. "But this isn't over, Brianna. You can't just destroy my reputation and expect me to disappear quietly. Actually, that's exactly what I expect. And if you contact me again, my lawyer will be filing for a restraining order." Security escorted Nathan toward the exit. Brianna watched him go, her heart pounding but her resolve steady. Around her, conversations slowly resumed, though she felt the weight of curious stares. Simone appeared at her elbow. "Are you okay?" "I will be." "That was your ex?" "That was Nathan." "He seems unstable," Simone observed. "Come on, let's get you a drink." At the bar, Judge Monroe joined them. "I saw what happened. Do you need anything?" "A restraining order, apparently," Brianna said, trying to make light of it. "I'm serious. That kind of behavior escalates. You need to protect yourself." Judge Monroe handed her another business card. "This is a colleague who specializes in restraining orders. Call her Monday morning." The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Brianna tried to focus on networking, on the cause she'd come to support, but Nathan's presence lingered like a bad taste. When she finally got home around 11, she found Nathan sitting in his car outside her apartment building. Brianna pulled into her parking spot, locked her doors and called the police. "I need to report someone waiting outside my apartment. We have a history of harassment and I've asked him repeatedly to stay away." The police arrived within 15 minutes. Brianna watched from her car as they approached Nathan's vehicle. She couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw Nathan's animated gestures, his obvious frustration. Eventually, one officer walked over to her car. She rolled down the window. "He says he just wants to talk to you. Says you two have a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding. I broke up with him 5 weeks ago. He's been harassing me since then. Tonight he showed up at an event where I was working. Now he's waiting outside my home." "Has he made any threats?" "Not explicit ones. But the pattern of behavior is threatening in itself." The officer nodded. "We're going to tell him to leave. I recommend you file for a restraining order first thing Monday morning. We'll note this call in our records in case you need documentation." After Nathan drove away and the police left, Brianna finally went up to her apartment. She locked the door, checked all the windows and sat on her couch with her phone in her hand. She called Patricia, not caring that it was nearly midnight. "Nathan showed up at a charity event tonight. Then he was waiting outside my apartment. The police came and made him leave. I'll prepare the restraining order paperwork tonight. We'll file first thing Monday." Patricia's voice was calm, professional. "Are you safe now?" "Yes. He's gone." "Good. Document everything that happened tonight. Write down every word you remember from both interactions. Time, place, witnesses." After hanging up, Brianna pulled out her laptop and began typing. The charity event. Nathan's approach. His refusal to accept her boundaries. His words at the end, "This isn't over." Then the detail of finding him outside her home. His presence in the parking lot. The police involvement. When she finished, the document was 3 pages long. She sent it to Patricia immediately. Then she texted Zoe, "Nathan stalked me tonight. Police came. Filing for restraining order Monday. Can you stay with me this weekend?" Zoe responded within seconds, "On my way." By 1 in the morning, Zoe was settled on Brianna's couch with blankets and pillows. They checked all the locks twice and pulled the curtains closed. "This is scary," Zoe said. "He's really losing it." "I know. But I'm not backing down. I'm not pretending we're together to make him feel better. I'm not minimizing what he did." "Good. You shouldn't have to." Zoe pulled her close for a hug. "We'll get through this. You've got a whole army of people supporting you now." Brianna thought about Simone, Judge Monroe, Patricia, Jerome, her employees, Lauren, Nathan's own parents. All the people who'd seen Nathan's behavior and chosen to stand with her instead. Nathan had tried to isolate her, to make her doubt herself, to convince everyone that she was the problem. Instead, he'd isolated himself. "Thank you for being here," Brianna whispered. "Always," Zoe said. "That's what best friends do." Monday morning arrived with paperwork and purpose. Patricia had the restraining order documents ready by 9, and by noon they were filed with the court. A hearing was scheduled for the following week. "The police report from Friday night helps," Patricia explained. It establishes a pattern of escalating behavior. Combined with his appearance at your office, the texts from multiple numbers, and the incident at the charity event, we have a strong case. Brianna nodded, signing where Patricia indicated. How long does the temporary order last? Until the hearing. If the judge grants the full restraining order, it will be valid for 1 year, possibly longer. What if Nathan violates it? Then he gets arrested. And given that he's a lawyer trying to establish his career, he'd be smart not to risk it. After the meeting, Brianna went to her office. Work had piled up during the drama of the past few days, and she threw herself into it with renewed focus. Jerome stopped by with coffee and a smile. How are you holding up? Better. Getting the restraining order filed felt good. Like I'm taking control back. You are. And the company's doing great, by the way. The hospital contract team sent their monthly review. We're exceeding performance targets. That afternoon, Brianna met with a realtor. She'd been thinking about buying a house for months, and after the incident with Nathan in her apartment parking lot, she decided to move forward with the plan. The realtor showed her 3 properties. The third one, a modern townhouse with large windows and a small backyard, felt immediately right. I'll make an offer, Brianna said. 2 days later, her offer was accepted. The townhouse would be hers in 30 days. Thursday evening was the Professional Women's Network dinner. Brianna arrived to find Simone and several other women already seated at their usual table. How are you doing? Simone asked after they'd ordered. We heard about the restraining order. It's in process. Hearing next week. Good. You deserve to feel safe. A woman named Angela, a doctor who specialized in emergency medicine, leaned forward. I see this stuff all the time in the ER. Men who can't handle rejection. It's terrifying how common it is. The legal system doesn't always take it seriously until something violent happens, Judge Monroe added. But judges are getting better about recognizing patterns of harassment. Teresa, the financial consultant, raised her glass. To Brianna for standing her ground and not letting anyone minimize her boundaries. They all clinked glasses. The solidarity felt powerful, necessary. I have news, Simone announced. Brianna, I talked to some board members at the Tech Innovation Council. They want to invite you to join. It's a pretty prestigious group. Really? Brianna felt her face warm with pleasure. I'd be honored. Your company's success speaks for itself. Plus, we need more young women entrepreneurs in leadership positions. After dinner, Brianna drove home feeling lighter than she had in weeks. She was building something new. Not just professionally but personally. A network of strong, supportive women. A home that would be entirely hers. A life without Nathan's shadow. Friday brought the restraining order hearing. Brianna sat in the courtroom with Patricia, nervous but prepared. Nathan arrived with his own lawyer, looking haggard and frustrated. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, reviewed the documentation. Police reports. Text message logs. Witness statements from the charity event. Mr. Williams, you have a pattern of concerning behavior, the judge said. Approaching Miss Foster at her workplace despite being asked to leave. Attending an event you knew she'd be at. Waiting outside her home. This goes beyond trying to reconcile a relationship. This is harassment. Your Honor, I was just trying to have a conversation, Nathan protested. We were together for 2 years. I thought if I could just explain. You thought wrong. Miss Foster has made her position clear. She doesn't want contact with you. That should have been the end of it. The judge granted the full restraining order. Nathan was required to stay at least 500 feet away from Brianna, her home, and her workplace. No contact of any kind was permitted. If you violate this order, Mr. Williams, you will be arrested. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Nathan said quietly. Walking out of the courthouse, Brianna felt like she could breathe properly for the first time in weeks. That went as well as we could have hoped, Patricia said. The order is solid. If he contacts you now, call the police immediately. That evening, Zoe came over with takeout and champagne. They sat on Brianna's balcony, watching the sunset over the city. To new beginnings, Zoe said, raising her glass. To new beginnings. How does it feel? Knowing he can't contact you? Safe. For the first time since the breakup, I feel actually safe. You deserve that. You deserve all good things. Zoe took a sip of champagne. Have you thought about dating again? Not yet. I'm focusing on me right now. The business. The new house. Building friendships that actually support me. That's healthy. Although when you do start dating again, your standards are going to be through the roof. Brianna laughed. Good. They should be. The next 2 weeks passed peacefully. No texts from Nathan. No surprise appearances. No manipulation attempts. The restraining order was working. Brianna closed on her new townhouse and spent a weekend moving in with help from Zoe, Jerome, and her brother who flew in from Atlanta. The place felt bright and clean, entirely hers. She hung photos on the walls, arranged furniture the way she liked it, created a home office that looked out over the small backyard. Everything in its place. Everything chosen by her, for her. Tech Focus Solutions hired 2 new developers and began preliminary work on a second major contract. The board approved Brianna's expansion plans. Her income for the year would exceed her projections by 40%. At the monthly Professional Women's Network dinner, Brianna was officially welcomed to the Tech Innovation Council. She met the other members, all successful professionals who treated her as an equal and valued her insights. "Your company's approach to healthcare technology is innovative," one council member said. "Have you considered applying for the state innovation grant?" "I hadn't, but I will now." Simone smiled at her from across the table. "See? This is what happens when you surround yourself with people who support your success instead of feeling threatened by it." One evening, while working late at her office, Brianna received an email from Henderson and Associates. She opened it cautiously. "Miss Foster, we wanted to inform you that Nathan Williams is no longer employed with our firm. This decision was made after a review of his conduct and professional judgment. We apologize for any distress his behavior may have caused. If you have any concerns about ongoing issues, please don't hesitate to contact our senior partners." Brianna forwarded the email to Patricia, then called Zoe. "They fired him," she said when Zoe answered. "Nathan's firm?" "Yes. I just got an email. He's done." "Good. He deserved it." Zoe paused. "How do you feel about it?" "Relieved mostly. He can't use his position at that firm to cause more problems. And honestly, maybe this will be the wake-up call he needs. Or not. Some people never learn." "True. But either way, it's not my problem anymore." That night, lying in bed in her new house, Brianna realized she hadn't thought about Nathan all day until that email. Hadn't checked her phone anxiously. Hadn't looked over her shoulder in parking lots. She was moving on. Actually, genuinely moving on. And it felt good. The tech conference at the convention center downtown was one Brianna had been looking forward to for months. Tech Focus Solutions had a booth in the exhibition hall, and she'd prepared a presentation on integrating healthcare technology with patient data security. She arrived early to set up the booth, greeting her team members who'd volunteered to help staff it throughout the 3-day event. The convention center buzzed with energy as hundreds of tech professionals began filtering in. Brianna's presentation was scheduled for 2 in the afternoon. By 1:30, the conference room was filling up. She reviewed her slides one last time, made sure her notes were organized, and waited for the moderator's introduction. She was halfway through her presentation, discussing encryption protocols, when she saw Nathan enter through the back door of the conference room. Her voice faltered for a split second. Then she continued, maintaining eye contact with the audience in the front rows, deliberately not looking toward where Nathan had taken a seat. She finished the presentation to solid applause. The Q&A session ran over by 10 minutes because of the audience's engaged questions. When it finally ended, Brianna gathered her materials quickly, hoping to exit before Nathan could approach. Too late. He was waiting by the door as attendees filed out. "Brianna, that was a great presentation," he said, as if they were casual acquaintances instead of 2 people separated by a restraining order. "Can we talk for a minute? You're violating a court order by being this close to me. I'm attending a public conference. I have a right to be here. You have a right to be at the conference. You don't have a right to approach me." Brianna looked around for security, but the hallway was crowded with conference attendees. "I just need 5 minutes. Please. I'm not trying to harass you. I need to apologize. Properly. You've had 2 months to apologize. You chose harassment instead." Nathan moved closer and Brianna instinctively stepped back. "I know I messed up. I know I handled everything wrong. But losing you, losing my job, losing everything has made me realize what I had. What you had was someone you didn't appreciate. Now you don't have that anymore. That's how consequences work. Bree, please. I'm in therapy now. I'm working on myself. I understand that I was insecure about your success. I understand that I tried to make myself feel bigger by making you feel smaller. That's very insightful. Tell your therapist. Don't tell me." Brianna started walking toward the main exhibition hall. Nathan followed. "Just hear me out. I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm asking you to give me a chance to make amends. Making amends means leaving me alone, Nathan. That's what amends look like. They reached the exhibition hall, which was packed with people. Brianna headed toward the Tech Focus booth, where Jerome and 2 employees were talking to potential clients. Nathan grabbed her arm. Not hard, but firmly enough to stop her movement. Don't touch me, Brianna said loudly. Loudly enough that several nearby people turned to look. I just need you to listen, Nathan said, desperation clear in his voice now. Everything has fallen apart. The firm fired me. My family won't talk to me. I can't get hired anywhere because word got out about the restraining order. You're destroying my life. I didn't destroy anything. You did that yourself. Jerome appeared at Brianna's elbow. Is there a problem? This man is violating a restraining order, Brianna said clearly. Nathan released her arm immediately, hands raised. I'm not violating anything. I'm attending a conference. You grabbed her arm, Jerome said. I saw that. And if there's a restraining order, you're not supposed to be anywhere near her. 2 security guards approached, drawn by the commotion. What's going on here? This man has a restraining order against him, Brianna explained. He's required to stay 500 feet away from me. He attended my presentation, followed me into the hall, and grabbed my arm. Sir, we're going to need you to come with us, one guard said to Nathan. This is insane, Nathan protested. I came to a professional conference. I can't help that she's here too. You absolutely can help following her and touching her, the guard said. Let's go. As the guards escorted Nathan away, he turned back to Brianna. This isn't fair. You can't just ruin my entire life because I made one mistake at a party. One mistake. Brianna's voice rose with disbelief. You've made dozens of mistakes. You cheated on me. You lied about our relationship. You harassed me at my workplace. You stalked me at charity events. You waited outside my home. Every single choice you made after that party was another mistake. This isn't about one bad moment, Nathan. This is about a pattern of terrible decisions. I loved you, he said, and suddenly he sounded broken. Genuinely, deeply broken. I know I didn't show it right. I know I was insecure and stupid. But I did love you and I threw it away and now I have nothing. For a moment, Brianna felt a flicker of sympathy. Then she remembered the humiliation at his graduation party. The lies. The manipulation. The fear she'd felt when he showed up outside her apartment. You had everything, she said quietly. A girlfriend who supported you. A job at a prestigious firm. A family who loved you. You destroyed all of that because you couldn't handle me being successful. That's not my fault, Nathan. That's yours. The security guards led him away. Brianna watched until they disappeared through the exit doors, then turned to Jerome. You okay? He asked. I will be. She pulled out her phone and called the police to report the restraining order violation. Then she called Patricia. Nathan showed up at my conference presentation and violated the restraining order. Security has him. The police are on their way. Good. Let them arrest him. This needs to stop. By the time the police arrived, Nathan was sitting in the security office, looking defeated. Brianna gave her statement, provided documentation of the restraining order, and watched as officers placed Nathan under arrest. You're being charged with violating a protective order, one officer told him. You have the right to remain silent. They read him his Miranda rights and let him out in handcuffs. The conference attendees who'd witnessed the scene stood in small groups, whispering. Brianna returned to the Tech Focus booth. Her hands shook slightly, adrenaline still coursing through her system. That was intense, one of her employees said. Are you sure you're okay? I'm sure. Let's get back to work. The rest of the conference passed without incident. Brianna's presentation generated significant interest in Tech Focus solutions, resulting in 3 new client meetings scheduled for the following week. That evening, sitting in her townhouse with a glass of wine, Brianna received a call from Patricia. Nathan posted bail a few hours ago. He has a court date next week for the restraining order violation. Given that he's already lost his job at a major law firm, this arrest is probably going to tank any chance he had of rebuilding his legal career. That's his problem to solve, Brianna said. Agreed. But I want you to know he's out. Be cautious for the next few days. Brianna looked around her home. Safe. Secure. Entirely hers. She'd installed a security system after moving in. She had friends checking on her regularly. She had legal protection and professional success. Nathan had tried to make her feel small, insignificant, not good enough for his imagined future. Instead, she'd built a life that exceeded anything she'd dreamed of. And she'd done it without him. 6 months later, the November morning arrived crisp and clear. Brianna stood in front of the mirror in her townhouse bedroom, adjusting the collar of her blue blazer. Today was the grand opening of Tech Focus Solutions' second office, located across the state in the growing tech hub near the university. Her phone buzzed with congratulatory messages. Zoe, Jerome, her parents, her brother, Simone, Judge Monroe, dozens of colleagues and clients. The business magazine that had featured her months ago was sending a photographer to cover the opening. She thought briefly about Nathan. His court case for violating the restraining order had resulted in probation and mandatory counseling. He'd moved to another city, trying to rebuild his legal career far from the place where his reputation had crumbled. Lauren occasionally sent updates. Nathan was working at a small firm, living quietly, apparently finally getting the therapy he needed. He'd sent one message through his sister months ago, apologizing genuinely and asking nothing in return. Brianna had acknowledged the apology through Lauren but made clear she had no interest in any relationship, friendly or otherwise. Some bridges, once burned, weren't meant to be rebuilt. The drive to the new office took 2 hours. Jerome rode with her, reviewing the day's schedule and the remarks they'd each prepared for the opening ceremony. "This is huge, Bri," Jerome said. "Remember when we started this company in your tiny apartment with one client and a dream? I remember thinking we were crazy. We were crazy. But we were right." The new office space was beautiful. Modern design, state-of-the-art equipment, room for 20 employees. They'd already hired 10 for the expansion, with plans to add more as projects grew. Local business leaders attended the opening, along with university representatives interested in partnering with Tech Focus for research initiatives. Brianna gave a speech about innovation, community, and the importance of creating opportunities for young people in technology. After the formal ceremony, she mingled with guests, shaking hands and exchanging business cards. Simone had driven up for the event, along with several other women from the Professional Women's Network. "You should be proud," Simone said. "This is incredible growth in such a short time. I couldn't have done it without people like you supporting me. That's what community is for. We lift each other up." Around 3 in the afternoon, during a lull in the festivities, a man approached Brianna. He was tall, carried a portfolio and had kind eyes. "Miss Foster? I'm Cameron Brooks. I'm an architect working on the university's new technology center. I was hoping to get your thoughts on designing spaces that work well for tech companies." They talked for 20 minutes about workspace design, collaboration needs, and the balance between open floor plans and private focus areas. Cameron listened thoughtfully, taking notes, asking intelligent questions. "Would you be willing to consult on the project?" he asked. "We're still in early planning stages, but input from someone actually running a successful tech company would be valuable." "I'd be interested. Have your team send me more details." "Great. And if you're ever back in town, maybe we could grab coffee? I'd love to learn more about how you built your company." Brianna smiled. "Coffee sounds good." After Cameron left, Zoe materialized at Brianna's side. "Who was that? And why are you smiling like that?" "An architect. He wants consulting advice on a project." "Wow. And the smile. He seems nice, professional, respectful, and cute." "Don't forget cute." Brianna laughed. "Maybe I'm ready to consider dating again. Eventually. When the time is right." "Good. Because you deserve someone who appreciates how amazing you are." The grand opening wound down as evening approached. Employees began packing up. Guests departed with thanks and promises to stay in touch. Jerome and Brianna stayed late, walking through the empty office space, marveling at what they'd built. "I'm proud of us," Jerome said. "We took a risk and it paid off. We took a lot of risks. And we worked really hard." "You worked really hard. This expansion was mostly your vision." Brianna looked around the office. Clean desks waiting for tomorrow's work. Computers ready to solve problems. Space for dreams to become reality. She thought about the woman she'd been at Nathan's graduation party. Shrinking herself to fit his comfort zone. Accepting his dismissiveness. Believing, somewhere deep down, that maybe he was right about their different leagues. That woman seemed like a stranger now. "I'm glad everything happened the way it did," Brianna said. "I mean, I wish Nathan had been a better person. I wish I hadn't wasted 2 years. But going through all that, standing up for myself, refusing to accept less than I deserved. It changed me. Made me stronger. You were always strong. You just remembered it." They locked up the office and drove back toward the city. Brianna's phone showed several missed calls from business contacts, emails about new opportunities, and a text from Cameron thanking her for her insights and suggesting they connect next week. When she finally got home to her townhouse, she poured a glass of wine and sat on her back patio. The November air was cool but not cold. Stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Her life looked nothing like she'd imagined it 6 months ago. Nathan was gone. His attempts to minimize her success had backfired spectacularly. His career had suffered while hers had flourished. But more importantly, she'd found her voice. Her confidence. Her absolute certainty that she deserved respect, support, and appreciation in every relationship, professional and personal. Tech-Focus Solutions was exceeding projections. The hospital contract continued to perform well. The new office would serve the growing tech community across the state. Next year's revenue would likely hit $8 million. She wasn't in Nathan's league. She'd never been in his league. She was in an entirely different stratosphere and she'd built it herself. Her phone buzzed. A text from Zoe, "Proud of you, bestie. You're doing amazing things." Brianna smiled and typed back, "Thanks for being there through everything. Love you." Then she set her phone aside and sat in the peaceful evening, listening to the sounds of her neighborhood settling into night. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new possibilities. But tonight she simply enjoyed the life she'd built. A life without apologies for her success. A life where her financial league, her professional achievements, and her personal worth were hers to define. A life where she'd taken revenge by thriving. And that, she decided, was the best revenge of all.